We live? Okay, well, I should be streaming. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Let's pause this. All right, so welcome back. I hope everything is fine. I'm just gonna quickly check. But it seems like it's, I don't know. It's a bit glitchy, but let me know. I've tried to use a SIM card instead of Wi-Fi. I need you to tell me if it's all right or if it's pretty bad. But anyways, let's see. Bitcoin is looking pretty bad. There's no lie about that. We need to see if this is just a simple retest right here. Just to go and retest this naked point, daily naked point of control, and this value area low. But I think it seems like we're gonna go for new lows. I would not like, to be honest, to see a bounce here. That wouldn't make sense. We just have all these lows which are looking very, very bad. So there would be no point. Okay, so, oh my God, I see that it's really glitchy. At least for me. If you guys can let me know how it's looking, even on Discord, I'm gonna write a text. It just seems like I can't stream in Italy, to be honest. I've tried with like Wi-Fi, with 5G. But anyways, until someone tells me it's terrible, I'm not gonna stop. So anyways, we have the potential to reverse possibly between this 85.8 and 85.7. But again, I wouldn't really like that. We're approaching this now. I will also be monitoring the order flow and I will let you know what is happening. But it seems like we're just going for these new lows, which to be honest is better. It could offer a good trade, to be honest, off of a simple SFP, which I've been teaching for now the longest time. So the optimal thing would be to, and this kind of sucks because we were in a big short trade from higher. Trading chart, let's see, a bit. Okay. We were in a short trade from higher. Where was it? From yesterday, right about here. I actually shorted this and I fully closed it on my BitGet account, where I actually re-added a position today. So in the end, I did take a loss. 1 second, this is a scam. I just need to cancel something on Discord. There's a scammer. So anyways, I was saying my positions. So these are all the things that I closed. As you can see, my Bitcoin short, I did make some nice profit. This was much higher. But as you can see here on the chart, I don't know why it doesn't show. But anyways, I try to reshort. I want right here. I try to reshort right here. Was going okay at the end, and then we had that massive pump 1 hour before the opening. And I had a very tight stop loss just above the high, as I was saying, at 88K, and it stopped me out, whatever, not an issue. I still closed with nice profit overall. But it kind of sucks because as you can see, yesterday we had this very nice short. We didn't take any profit along the way. I did take some profit at the bottom, and I was honestly expecting to make new lows well below these right here. That's what I was expecting. For now, we're having a nice reaction here. I'm going to check order flow and report back to you. The order flow, just a lot of, I mean, there is a lot of shorts opening. This kind of looks good. Yeah, there you could have had that scalp long, just when I warned you about this level. As I said, like this is the possible reversal level. You could have honestly scalped this long. The simplest thing to do is when I say these levels, you just buy right there aggressively. You can put the stop loss a bit below, and then you just let it ride. And you know, already here you would have made almost a 1-to-1. So if you're scalping, that could have been okay. I don't like to do that. I'm also gonna check chat. No, okay, we're all good. But let's see. As I said, I honestly prefer to see these lows being taken at this point. What happened here? Because honestly, there's just so much liquidity. We could even check a heat map. I don't really use heat maps. I just know there's all this liquidity down here. So I'm just gonna wait for that, for a potential new long. I'm gonna wait for a reaction. I'm not buying anything here. You're free to do so if you think so. If I were to open a long, I would just buy here and I would probably place the invalidation below this low. But again, I really don't think this is good. I don't think this is optimal. I do think we're going for new lows. Same thing for Ethereum. We had a really good short yesterday right here. That was really amazing. Took some profit. I actually closed this trade around here, I think. But again, same thing. We just had that rejection. I'm guessing it's some news. It seems like too much of a fall, so random. But I'm not 100% sure. I haven't checked because I haven't been I've been very busy today, so I don't really know what's happening with some news or stuff. Anyways, so yeah, that's for sure one thing I'm gonna wait for. However, my most interesting trade at this point is gonna be, at least for a swing, it's gonna be either a short trade between this area, as you can see. If you take the fixed range 2, we have this big point of control lying around 91.3. We know these Fibonacci levels have been respected very, very well lately, both from the top and the bottom. So initially what I was looking at here was an harmonic pattern, which could have been something like, where are my harmonics? Right, so we would have had something like this. This is what you always want to be looking for whenever a Fibonacci level is respected, with a move here, and then that D could have been either at this, right below this low, so on a fake out, for example, this would be valid. So the setup I've been talking to you guys about right here, where we simply go and either grab the liquidity or spend some time below, get back above, and then reverse. That would be one potential. And by the way, this D point from there, that's a long trade. Or the lower levels that I've been speaking about, which are gonna come towards 77, 76, 74. I mean, the optimal thing would be around here. This would still be valid. But I mean, it could be that this B point is not in yet. It would be okay, for example, if we do one more grab of liquidity below these lows, then proceed for point C, which can be, I mean, you gotta give it some room, either up to this daily and naked point of control, or just simply this point of control with the Fibonacci level. And then from there, we can take it lower to either, as I said, this weekly or NPOC, or just below this low, and this would still be valid. So something like this would be optimal at this point. At this point right here, when we were just trading, honestly, like 30 minutes ago, right about 90,000, I did think we could have had that that move up to get filled around here. But it seems like at this point now, it is more likely, and by the way, this doesn't have to hold. It could be that we fully reverse from here for these new lows. And I am going to talk to you through another possible scenario. But yeah, so here, I think at this point, it's more likely that we grab these lows right here and put our B here. And then go for that reversal towards point C. And then from there, we can look for that short back down to much deeper levels, which can turn out to be a very nice trade. For example, I mean, here I would be very careful because you have two strong levels. So I would be, this has to be a reactionary trade. You cannot be setting limits here, because if we do go to that upper resistance, then you get stopped out. So you have two choices. Either you wait for the reaction, and then once you get that reaction, change your market structure on the lower time frame. You get your entry and you place your stop loss, for example, above the wick. And then if we move up to the higher levels, then at that point you just get stopped out and you try again, for example, here based on the reaction. Or what you would need to do is set some orders. So obviously you still wait for a reaction, but you set a wider stop loss, let's say towards, for example, above this value area high. And then you do some orders. So you're gonna have your first order right here, your second order here, third, fourth, and then your average is gonna be about here, for example. Then you wait, you give yourself some space above here, and then you let this run. Let's say once you have the reversal, you put it just below the wick or just a little bit above the wick. Let's say that your wick is gonna be like this. You're gonna place it right below here, or just give it some space like this, and then you should be good. Your average entry is gonna be between these two levels, and yeah. And so then we have our point C, for example, here, and then you can look for that reversal. To be honest, the best thing, but again, as you can see, this level failed, so it doesn't seem likely anymore. But the best thing would be to actually leave, one second, delete these. If we can just leave all these double bottoms down here, and we don't actually take the liquidity, and somehow, which again, I think there's probably a 10% chance at this point. I really think we're going for these lows. Very, very likely. Then at this point, if we can leave these here, right? If we reverse right here, then this will be stuff that we go and take after. And that will give me even more confidence in shorting here. If we take these lows first, right? Then this is finished business. We have a good low here. We have a good low here. If we put in this nice low right here, which by the way is still New York session, so this will also look good on the TPO, and we reverse, we leave some excess, this will be finished. Doesn't mean that we have to get that short trade there. Already the fact that we had this liquidity down here was going to give us more confidence for that. If we take this now and we get a lot of shorts stuck, for example, then the probability that this will play out goes down. Of course, you have to keep that in mind. However, I really think we're gonna take these lows first. So we are approaching a possible level of a long trade. Let's see if we can get that entry live. If not, I will be updating it in the Discord. So that's one thing. Another thing you gotta keep in mind, a lot of people are gonna be considering breaking this low very bearish. So another scenario could be that we go below this low. We get a lot of people to be bearish. A lot of people start shorting here. We go back above the level. We do a very simple fake out. And that's where we have the reversal towards that 96 that I've been speaking about. Even though this is starting to not be that interesting of a level. Hello, Marco. Hey, are you gonna long the SFP of the lows? Yes, if we get a good setup with a good reaction, I will be longing this right here, or potentially this, which is the scenario I was speaking about now. So yeah, so these are the two only options. I mean, honestly, look, now we're reclaiming these levels. As I said, this would be nice to leave. That would give me, but it will not be nice for the longer term, because that means we're gonna probably have another move down. So I hope that's clear. But for us, it's better in a sense, I guess, because then we can be a little bit more sure to take this short trade that I was speaking about here. So that was basically the same idea that we had yesterday, right? Which was we had those very poor lows at the bottom at 86. We had that nice resistance at 90. And what we were waiting for was for these lows to be taken, which, as you can see, just came so close. I mean, this is actually why I didn't take that much profit, because otherwise I would have. I would have walked out with much more profit. This was about 0.17%. So that's, the low came in at 85242. The absolute low here was 85118. So that's about $100 of difference. That's kind of a shame, but again, these things are good. If then we get a pump, you can be more confident in shorting these, because all this liquidity, I can guarantee you the market makers are not just gonna leave it like this. This is gonna get cleaned at one point. We don't know when, but eventually this has to get cleaned. So that's the reason behind the short trade that we can look at. This would be nice, honestly, if we reverse here. I feel like they would do this on purpose. Every time they leave like a slider higher low. Look at this. Low, higher low. This low right here is higher than this one. And then if we don't reverse here, this would be higher than this one. Okay, this came in pretty aggressive. I'm going to check order flow real quick. And again, to be honest, there's not really many shorts opening, so I think this is fine for another move down and to actually get these. And again, this would be preferred for, I'm guessing, the majority of you. Yeah, if we get the right reaction, I will take a long on the stream. This will be good for probably most of you who are holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of spot and a lot of altcoins, because as I said, if we clean these lows, then we have a higher probability of actually reversing and not having to go back to these levels. This could be our third higher low, and we could go towards the 96. And remember, at 96, we don't have to reverse. This could be the point where, for example, we start flipping into 105. I'm sorry, we start flipping this into support and move up to that 105. Once you move up to 105, the chances of moving up to 116 get higher and higher. Right, what I was looking at was this range right here. I hate this mouse that I have. This range here, you know, moving up, now it's higher. Why is that? Okay, I guess that's weird. Maybe on the 4 hours it's lower. No. Just a second, guys. I remember this was much lower. 119. Huh. Okay, well, I guess this changed for some reason. But anyways, moving up to this 119 is going to be pretty doable once we reclaim this 105, right? We reclaim value area low. Of course, possible reversal at the point of control, but doesn't seem like there's much resistance. And final target becomes 120. Once you're at 120, it doesn't take much to go to a new all-time high, right? So things could change very, very fast. That's the point. And it depends a lot, honestly, on this 96. 96 and 105 are the two very crucial points. 96 about here. And again, we reclaim this area, very possible to go to 120. And from there, very possible to go to a new all-time high. So whilst everybody's bearish here, if we're able to maintain these lows and start moving up, this can change so quickly, you would be surprised. Like in 3 weeks, we could be back at 120. Obviously, it's not looking like that so far, but it's possible. For now, again, highest probability is to go much lower. And I've been speaking about this for quite a bit. So for now, we want to be trying to secure that short trade to protect us. Opinions on Sol, I'll cover Sol later. I have $79, one more good trade, and I'm joining the Discord. I'm so pumped. For the account. Look, if you just text me in private, I will help you out and give you access either way. The $20 that you're missing is not an issue. We'll give you access either way. So again, we don't really want to see this for the longer term. This is not looking great. We really just want to see these lows being taken at this point. What else we can check is this Ethereum BTC I was speaking about. As you can see, we started that move down I was talking about. And there is not much more left that we need to wait for. And look how perfect this line has been followed so far. And hopefully this can actually play out, because that will be very, very nice for, I think, the majority of people here who are holding a lot of spot. And I am too, so this would be nice for me too. We just need 7% more. Very easy to achieve, especially if Bitcoin, for example, can go take these lows, or for example, the scenario where it goes back down to 83. And by the way, if we simply SFP, right, or do a failed auction, a quick failed auction here, I'm not going to consider this as a change in market structure. If we can just grab it quickly and get back above, this is fine. I'm not going to consider that as bearish. And again, this would be very, very nice to do. I think that can trick a lot of people. But at this point, again, if we reverse here, what I'm going to be looking at is something like that, right? And then maybe at this point, we can still get that fake out here off of this low. But then for the longer term, if we go too deep, for example, we're not going to retrace down to here. But if we can retrace, for example, to here, that will still be all right. Just we need to not get too close to this low at 80,000. That's the only thing. Okay, so I think for Bitcoin, that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna leave the interesting trades. So again, interesting trade is gonna be, my bad, is gonna be move down here to retest the 6.6, grab all the liquidity there is on a nice reaction, change your market structure, we can take that long. So optimally what we would want to see, we're still going to take this short even if we clean these just for protection, because it is a good level of resistance. We would still maintain, I'm just, because here context would change a little bit, right? Here, if you clean the lows and you get that reversal, what stops us from going to, what is happening here? What stops us from going to that 96 off of the new highs? So that's a bit more complicated. But I would say that I would probably take the short trade either way. I would be a bit more cautious, but I would still take it for protection. So something like this. These would be the, like, let's say more the closer trades that we have. And then obviously here you would have to target a new low, because we don't really care about that anymore if it gets clean. If instead, again, if we don't do this first, so if from here we reverse and we leave these ugly ass lows, then we can look for that for sure with that target here. And then we can look once again for potentially this trade. And this, at that point, is when we target higher. We go for that 96 or 105, right? I hope that makes sense to everybody, why it is like that. But yeah. This for me, to be honest, would be a less preferred scenario, so the least preferred one, because I don't want to see Bitcoin keep on falling. I'd rather we just take this liquidity at one point. We're here anyways, might as well take it, suffer a little bit more for the next hour or so, and then get that reversal, and then from there keep going up. But if we do reverse here, keep in mind we have this structure, and we want to be taking that for sure. I'm not saying it will work out for sure, but this is a trade I would 100% take. Right, we have this from the latest high to the latest low, and all around this area. That's where I'm going to be interested in. For the bigger swing trades, again, we have 1 below this low, 2 off of this, and 3 right here. For the bigger short trades, the 96 is gonna be, I know now where I got that 116. There it is. All right, so cancel what I said before. This 119 is not the valid one. It's this. I had forgotten to take this into account. Anyway, the only thing that changes is that we wouldn't go to 119. We would most likely find resistance on 116. And the reclaiming level is still that 96, right? So for the bigger short trades, it is mainly this area right here, where we have all these stop losses above here. And we have this anchor VWAP with the point of control, which at this point is taking so long. And if this takes even longer, perhaps we can line it up with this anchor VWAP, which would be nicer, but I think that would take easily another month. Could it be that we range for the next month? Yeah, it could be. And this lines up very nicely here. But as long as this happens in the next few days, it should be all right. And yeah, so short trade is going to be here, the most interesting one. I hope everything is clear on Bitcoin. Okay, we can go to Ethereum. Ethereum, same thing. Still waiting for this, to be honest. That would be my most interesting level. And my most interesting level for short trade is going to be up here. So not much has changed. Right? This is very, very interesting. Let me see if we have more levels. Nothing here. Nothing here. Nope. Anyways, this is still the very interesting level for the short, 3,700. And for the long is gonna be still gonna be this 2.4, 2.5. We have this daily here. Yeah, that's gonna be our area. So right here is gonna be the long. Do we have a potential setup once again here? Yes, of course. This, if Bitcoin grabs the liquidity and we reverse, it's the same setup for Ethereum, right? And look at that, Bitcoin is now having a very nice reaction. And I feel like this is what we're gonna go for, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, but if you took that scalp trade, by the way, should be in very nice profit. I don't know if anyone did. You would have had some drawdown, but you would have never gotten the stop loss hit. And from here, as we said, it would have been like this. Stop loss could have added here or could have added right below here. Maybe there you would have been stopped out. But anyways, if you kept it below this, no. And you would have had up to now almost a 1-to-1. Again, not a trade I would have taken. I mean, we could have taken it live, to be honest. It would have worked out for now. But yeah, this is the type of shit that the market makers do, to be honest. They leave these on purpose. This is all for later, you will see. Or also they might leave a shit low and honestly pump the fuck out of it and then take it down. Who knows? You just need to trade each level and wait for each reaction every time. But something like that I wouldn't trade at that point. So yeah, that's it for Ethereum. Basically, you have the same setup. For another short trade on Ethereum, if we want to line it up with a short trade on Bitcoin. Let's see. Yeah, this is looking very good too. I would say this would line up pretty well with that 91.3, 92 that we have on Bitcoin. Something here. Take the liquidity that we have above here. The only thing I don't like is this big candle. But we can try it. This would be a very good trade, I think. Like it can be a good trade with the right reaction. Let's take these out. So yeah, we have a short trade here on Ethereum. We can set this alert right there. Still far, of course. It's more likely that we go down here. So I'm gonna set this too, actually. Yeah, I would say that's it. So again, best thing would be to get first filled on this. I mean, best thing depends if you rather be in the short trade or the long trade. Since this is closer, I'm gonna put long trade first into the short. And that's it. And then the higher levels we covered already. Potential short trade here, yes. Very possible, 3.2. Yeah. I want to see if we also have an harmonic here. I'm guessing probably yes. Nope, we don't. Okay, so that's it for Ethereum, for higher time frame and lower time frame. Someone wanted to see Solana. By the way, if you want to see more altcoins, you can drop them in the chat. Solana has now lost this monthly and this big value area low. I have talked about this scenario in the past. I said that if we go, if we lose this area, the next point is going to be below 100. Or yeah, so once again, this 96, which we've already traded once, if you remember. It's just not gonna look good for, to be honest, for Solana, like good at all. And I'm glad because I have sold a lot of Solana back when it was at 250. I've had it now, but most of my profit I've taken around this area, 250 to 200. And I would say you have to sell that. You have to tap that sell button at one point. Of course, on Solana we do have a setup if you want to. Very risky, of course. But if we are to reverse on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is a very simple. Let's see on the 30 minute. Yep, on 30 minutes as well. We could scalp this if you want. I could scalp it with you. I don't think it's likely to work, but you do have that long trade off of taking this liquidity. Can target. But definitely to see this send, you would want to see that reclaim of 124. Then this can start running a little bit. If you want to be more cautious, you can wait for the market structure change. I will take this now. Let's do on BitGet. By the way, this Microsoft position that was in a loss is now in profit. I'm just going to go very small position on Solana. I already have a lot in spot. And to be honest, I don't think this trade is going to work out very well, but we do have a valid setup. So I'm gonna take it. What's going on? Come on. So let's do. What the fuck? $119. What's the loss? No, not right. Prezzo 119. What? All right. I love that sound. All right, and I'm gonna leave some space right below it. $82 only if I take the loss. How's that possible? Let me see. Is that on one Solana? Posizione completa. 119. Okay, 320. I don't know what the fuck was that stop loss before. we put it right below the low, I do save $100. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna put it right below the low with only $200 at the wrist. For me, if you know my size of my portfolio, that's nothing. So yeah, I mean, this is a valid SFP, so why not take it? Most of the time it will work out. But again, with Bitcoin looking like this right now, it's not the best option to be taking these trades, but we are live. It's always nice to take a trade live. Also, Bitcoin here is at resistance. Oh no, sorry, this is where? Ah, that's the bigger range. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. I'm gonna let this one run. Definitely you want to be monitoring on Solana the reaction that we get here, because if we could move up here, be in profit, and then this can just be rejected. So I would say if this rejects here, once we get here and it rejects, perhaps you can close your trade earlier. Also, I have a new entry way. I might add on to the position if we retest here just a little bit. So yeah, again, this is not financial advice. This is a risky position. If you don't want to risk money, don't take it. I hate to see AVAX dying, to be honest. I had quite a lot of AVAX, and it's just ridiculous to see it at $11. I don't know how this is possible, but oh well. I mean, honestly, the market is just disgusting. No trading setups to have, to be honest. There's not much. It's not the best time to be trading crypto. I mean, it is because of the volatility, but I would definitely be looking for shorts on us. You can make a lot of money doing that. Anyway, someone asked about TON. Let's go look at TON. TON, Bybit. TON literally looks exactly the same as AVAX. I think I had a short right here. As you can see, that played out pretty nicely. This I was expecting to go up. It never did. This is a very old analysis, by the way. Not very old, but a little bit. So this long we can cancel. Yeah, I mean, not much to do. Really not much. Look for a short trade on a bounce. You can take this. If you're holding spot, it's really not looking great. Yeah, until you reclaim 2.8, which is 100% away. It's looking cooked. It's not looking good at all. You can obviously look for the setup here. Not even. Yeah, I mean, you know, you had this reaction here, right? This is the SFP I was talking about. You have this reaction here. You take the liquidity, you close the 30-minute candle. You always have this setup like this with the stop loss below. I mean, this would have played out very nicely. You have the exact same setup now. It's just a range. If you guys want, we can take a very small trade. I'm not going to risk much money on it, but you can be trading this range until it breaks, right? We took it once again. Fuck it. Let's do it. These are all valid trades. But again, I'm going to go very light. But you're having a nice reaction here. Market 25%. Stop loss 142. I'm not risking 300. Fuck that. Here, I risked 75. Just there, $60. Again, what we're looking for is this exact same setup. You had it once here, and that led to a 15% rise. You have it once again here. You can look for the other side of the range. You can take profit mid-range. You can put some anchored VWAPs, and these can be, for example, take profit 1, take profit 2. This is how you trade ranges. But of course, go back below this low, chances are that that range is not going to work out. But of course, I mean, here we're not going to have a short trade, right? There's only a long trade to have. And the invalidation is so small that if it works out, you know, let's say like even if you have 30% of the time that this works out, and by the way, this works out way more than 30%, but let's assume that 30% of the time it works and 70% of the time it doesn't. We get stopped out. That means we get stopped out 7 times out of 10. So let's say we risk 100. We lose 700 for the times that we get stopped out, right? Because 7 out of 10. 3 times we win, but 3 times that we win, we get that 8 times whatever we risked. So 3 times 800, technically, if you hold it until the final take profit, overall, you're going to be profitable, right? Because here you make 2.4K, you lose 700 7 times. You lose 100 7 times, and 3 times you make that 800, for example. So this is why these trades are nice to take. Again, I'm risking so little, $50. That's literally nothing for my account size. Do I think this is gonna work out? Not really. Already worked out once here. Are we gonna get lucky twice? And are they gonna give this to us so easily? I don't know. If Ethereum can have that nice pump, yeah, these both Solana and Ton are gonna work out. If instead we go to shit, we're gonna get stopped out on both Solana and Ton. Pretty simple. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna take another look at Light. There was a very nice rejection here off of the SFP as well. That would have been a very nice short trade. Let's delete everything and look for a new little trade. I've really been liking trading Light. I've been very profitable on it. So let's see if we can find some other stuff. Boom, boom, boom. We have one. We have a daily here, daily up here. This is tapped already. Anchor view ups. Nothing interesting. Look at that nice flip, which by the way we traded the other day. Can see very nicely the flip. We got stopped out by so little and then it went up. Be careful in the Discord, there's a son of a bitch that made me transfer. I thought it was fair and lost the last USDT. I had to take my dog to the vet. What? Can you report me whoever this guy is and I'll kick him out? Anyways, I'm gonna finish this. Just a second, because a friend of mine is calling me. Sorry guys for the mess. Okay. So, I can see another setup on Light that we could take. Let me see in the chat if there's more requests. He told me of a private group. He has the same picture as you. Yeah, you have to be careful of these people. There's some scammers. Okay, anyways. I will never text you in private unless, I mean, also, but most times, very likely, I will not text you in private. And I'm not gonna ask you for money, that's for sure. I don't know. This 3, 1. This one is a bit tough. I'm not really seeing any setups. Nothing interesting other than this 113, but that's still quite far. Of course, on tokens like this, we could get 13 within 30 minutes, but it's still 20% away. Another interesting one could be a retest of this. We do have some supply and demand here. We could try to take this here. I don't mind this as an area for a long trade. This would have to be on a very small lower time frame trigger, but we could, right? Something. Yeah, I like this. We can see this as a range right here, mini range. And on this, we can be a bit more cautious, especially because light is a motherfucker, to be honest. Stops you out. But we can see this as like a mini failed auction. Just wait for these levels to be hit. Either you get a nice lower time frame entry here and you can go long straight away, or just simply wait for these levels to be tapped and then just wait for this to re-enter here. Once you're back in, wait for like 3 candles on the 5 minutes. Once you're back in, we can take a long trade like this. But first, it's better to get this liquidity, and then you can have a simple trade like this, which will still give you like a 1 to 3. This is the safest way to trade it, which will most likely work out. Instead, if you want to be more aggressive, literally just go for something like this. For example, keep your validation a bit wide. And then if you get that reclaim, of course, it's going to work out for you better. You take more risk, but you do get a 1 to 7. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope everything is clear. I'm going to stop the live here. Solana is $4 in profit. Wow. Let's see, Ton is just staying right there. Let's see if these trades work out. I'll update you in the Discord. I mean, they could. We have some valid setups, some valid SFPs. Let me take a look at Ton once again to understand at what point we could get that follow through. I mean, I just feel like this trade is too easy. They wouldn't just give it out so easily, but who knows, could work out. Especially if on the 4 hours we can close, chances increase even more. Definitely want to reclaim this 1.46. Yeah, let's just say that if we reclaim 146, chances are we'll go to 150 and this trade will more likely play out. I would still be taking profit like at 150, 153, right? It's just better to take profit quickly. I don't know if we're going to have that full reversal. Probably not, unless we have a full nice reversal on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But yeah, anyways, this looks fine. It's just very simple trades. Let's see if they work out. very small risk. Anyways, I will see you in the next live stream. Hopefully I will have better Wi-Fi by then. I do want to test. Okay, wait. So now I am on 3G. I'm going to test what it looks like if I go on Wi-Fi. So I'm going to disconnect for a second, but I'll be back on in a couple of seconds. But anyways, I'm done with the live, so you guys can leave if you wish. I'm just going to test the quality of the stream. Retest this daily naked point of control. Here blocks, okay. A mini failed auction, just wait for these levels to be hit. Either you get a nice lower time frame entry here and you can go long straight away, or just simply wait for these levels. Okay, yeah, I do see that. It's kind of shit. I need new Wi-Fi in this house. Yeah, it's quite glitchy. And damn, I look ugly as fuck. What the hell? All right, anyways. It is what it is. What if I put live? I need new Wi-Fi in this house. In this house. Yeah, it's quite glitchy. And damn, I look ugly as fuck. What the? All right, anyways. I will see you in the next live. Let's see if this plays out. We will update in the Discord. I might add a little bit more on Ton, to be honest. I'll do double the size. Position size 2K. How much do I have on Solana? 10K. Yeah, let's do some more on Ton. I remember I had a huge trade. All right, fine. I'll check WLD. I remember I had a big trade on Ton a couple months ago and I got fucked. Actually, not a month ago. It was like 1 year ago. So I don't really like Ton, to be honest. All right, we need to add. Let's do 2,000 more. Oh no, the sound on BitGet is so much better. All right, anyway. To position it for both. There we go. $100 risk on Ton. Let's see what happens. How much did we have risked on Solana? Where's my position? Yo, what the hell? No, I will look at, wow, don't worry. There it is, position. All right, so about $300 risk. Too honestly, I don't know, I'll see the take profit later. Let's see, WLD, USDT.P, WLD. Oh my God. I mean, again, you have the same exact setup as everything. You have an SFP, you can trade it. Best thing would have been to enter down here, which already would have given you a 1-to-1. Now it's a bit late. I mean, of course, if you have a full reversal, it's not late. If you want to take this back to 60 cents, you still get a 1 out of 10. But we have to be realistic. And, you know, for now, the chances are that you keep on putting lower lows. But you do have that SFP. But again, if you traded every single SFP here, this was not valid. This was not valid. I mean, here the SFP turned out pretty nicely. Here would have failed. Who knows? I mean, the trend is down. So again, not the best thing to look for longs. Do you have a setup? Technically, yes. Would I take profit very, very quickly? Yes. Also, this looks much worse than Ton and Solana. Solana, I feel like this can actually play out. Ton, I feel like also it could play out because it's more of a range. But instead, WLD is not really ranging. It's literally just, let's see on the higher time. Yeah, I mean, it's literally just dying, right? Would be one thing if you were in this price action, then I would tell you, yeah, for sure, take that trade. Like, look here, for example, right? This is the range that we have. If you traded that right here, would have made profit. If you traded that once again here, you would have made profit. But here you're just going down. I don't think this is going to work out. So I wouldn't take the trade. So yeah, once again, here, for example, this would have worked out. This time it would have failed. But yeah, anyways, that is it. And I will see you in the next live streams.